And we welcome you to 3 big questions as we get you ready for the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix taking place this weekend in New York City alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former Emirates GBR athlete Hannah Diamond. I am Todd Harris. Stevie, I'll start with you with this big question. Big announcements coming for Red Bull Italy and the Australians, and they bring in some heavy hitters. What does this mean specifically for those teams going forward?
Well, I think, if we only need to look back to season 1 and 2 with Team Japan, they're not here anymore. So on a simple level, it means they've got that financial security to grow. I mean, the bigger question I feel is, what does it mean for SailGP? And I don't know. I mean, Hollywood wants SailGP. I mean, I often say it's unscripted drama out there, not what they're used to, perhaps, but they're enjoying what they see. They see these franchises as having real possibility. So I think for our sport of sailing, that's sometimes maybe can see itself as a bit niche and a bit kind of off to the left-hand side of sport in general, it's clearly catching an audience. People are seeing value in it. It's delivering. For the teams themselves, great security. It's going to be a huge chance to expand their profile. But just for the sport of sailing, which obviously I'm a passionate, huge fan about myself, I just think it's fantastic that people, like Ryan Reynolds, like Anne Hathaway, want to be involved in sailing.
And Hugh Jackman. There's a movie coming out later this month called F1 with a guy named Brad Pitt. Do you see that on the horizon for SailGP?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, we like to think it's F1 on water. There's plenty of drama out there. There's some amazing stories, some amazing characters. Jimmy Spithill, one of the greatest comebacks in sporting history at the 2013 America's Cup. He's had all of that. It's brought that. SailGP brings this drama to every race weekend. And, here we are in New York, Broadwalk's there, isn't it? Drama itself. Yeah. And we're going to see a drama full weekend. I know that for sure.
And as season 5 just gets more and more interesting, 5 events down, 5 different winners. So if you want parity, you've come to the right place. You've sailed this area before. Which team do you think, or teams do you think, have the skills to really push it over the edge here in New York City?
Well, it's a really tricky venue. You've got land surrounding every side of the racecourse, and in addition to that, you've got some really strong currents. The wind can be quite fickle and shifty at times, so it's going to be about who can adapt the most to those changing conditions. The Black Foils won here last year, and they had a really strong showing on practice race today. So I think it's going to be about who can adapt to the changing conditions. We know that we've got quite light wind forecasts, so it's going to be really tricky for those boats to get off the start line, get some clear air, but can't fault the Black Foils so far.
I think to Hannah's point about the forecast, I think the forecast we've got is a bit lighter than we've had for a while, lighter than we've had today for practice. And I think it's an absolute leveller. We often say, we've got the best sailors in the world here. And some days you could question that. There's people out there making some pretty big mistakes. That's because these boats are really hard to sail. They're not like a normal boat. They're very, very hard to sail and coordinate. As soon as you get down to 4 people on board, you get down to not foiling. Yeah. So you take a 3D game and make it 2D again. I think it's suddenly a big leveller. What this is a massive opportunity for Taylor Canfield and the United States team, because they've shown themselves in the 2 non-foiling events we've had in the past to be absolute contenders in that. Match race, world champion, his positional chess game is his real strength. Yeah. Now, I'm with Hannah. I actually thought the Kiwis got it done last time, and I think potentially they could well get it done again here as well. But dark horse for me, this is a big one for the US. If they let this one slip, they're going to really be disappointed, because I think it's a big opportunity in these light winds. It suits the skill set of Taylor Canfield. Anna Weiss as the grinder. They've still got a real grinder. They've still got that power in the front of the boat with Anna on there. And I think that, it's an advantage to their crew lineup, and it suits their skill set. Big opportunity for the US team.
So quite possibly the biggest stage, the brightest lights on Broadway, the city that never sleeps. Halfway point of the season, Hannah, you see the teams starting to gel. You're seeing teams really coming together. And as a former member of Emirates GBR, you see that, you feel it. Which of the teams do you think, as we look to the second half of the season, knowing that the next stops now take place in Europe before the grand final in Abu Dhabi in November, which teams do you think, in your mind, are starting to gel and showing promise that they are going to be contenders to win the title?
Well, I think we can't look past kind of the rise of North Star Canada. Joust got moving across at the beginning of this season from Emirates GBR last season, and that team has really gelled. They've had some really strong results in the last few events, and we talked a lot between LA and San Francisco about keeping the momentum. That momentum's now been broken. There's been a period of time when no one's had access to the equipment. All they can do is look at the Oracle Cloud data to work out where their next gains are going to be. And it's going to really be a true test of a team that pulls together, who takes the momentum, picking it back up again at this event and taking it forward to the second half of the season.
Stevie, as I look at the standings after the 5 events, and to Hannah's point, you look at France, North Star Canada, New Zealand, Spain, Emirates GBR, and the Bonds Flying Roos, those 6 teams at the top of the leaderboard right now. I'm not saying someone can't come from behind and get in that top 3, but those have been the teams that I think have been showing the most consistency that they belong.
I think you could say that.
Yeah.
I
just did.
I personally think there's 2 leagues at the moment. You know, there's a top half and a bottom half. Both of those have got their own pressures. You know, I think for France in 6th, they've been chipping away. Yeah. Big time, big few events for them to put themselves back in the picture. They've looked good, but they've not quite converted, and that's been the story of their last 2 seasons, really. Nearly in the grand final, but not quite. I think for the Australians and the Bonds Flying Roos, as they're now called, you know, they've had a solid start to the year. They look fast. They've seen improvements in light winds since Chris Draper's come in as the wing trimmer. So, I think any of that top 6 I can make a case for. I think they could get there. They've got to start delivering on that. And then for Switzerland all the way down to Germany, it's about, can we get a podium in one of these final events of the seasons? Can we make changes? Because let's be honest, if some of these teams are still there and not making those improvements in 1-2 events' time, I think you've got to look for changing the staff on board the boat, because if you just keep going ahead as you are, what are you going to do? And we haven't talked a lot about that. You know, there's no Phil Robertson around. There's no Nathan Outridge. You know, there's a lot of talent out there that could come in and without doubt transform teams. And, we're not talking about that anymore. I think after this event and the next event, we're going to start talking about should they still be in their roles on board the boats if they don't start making changes.
Wow, it didn't take long to get him to the boiling point. That's 3 big questions. So, Stevie, while I've got you at the point of bubbling over, make a prediction. Who do you like this weekend? Give me a top 3.
My top 3. I'm going to go with New Zealand, Spain, and United States.
Wow, no Bonds Flying Roos for you. Okay. Hannah, you want to jump on this one? Who are your top 3 that are going to make it into the event final?
I think I probably agree with you with New Zealand.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to disagree on the other 2. I think the French, if they keep it together under pressure when there's boats around them, they could be really strong. And then I think we can't count out the Bonds Flying Roos, to be honest.
I'm kind of leaning towards
Well, come on, you make a prediction.
I never do. I'm terrible.
This fence ain't big enough, mate. You can get off it.
I think New Zealand's so good in the light breezes. You never can count out the Australians with the Bonds Flying Roos. I think it's that 3rd position, whether it's going to be Spain, whether it's going to be Canada. There's going to be a team in there that's going to rise up and kind of as we make the turn for home. Yeah, we belong with these guys as well. So I think it'll be all interesting. It all kicks off on Saturday, and then Super Sunday, it's the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix. It's event number 6 of season number 5. After this event, we say so long to North America, and then it's off to Europe before the grand final coming in November in Abu Dhabi. So for Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, I'm Todd Harris. We hope you enjoy the racing this weekend, and we'll be with you when it's all over to recap, show you that our predictions were dead on.